The Dallas Cowboys had a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day at the office. They come up short against the Philadelphia Eagles, and short's an understatement. 41-7. The Cowboys turned it over 4 times. They had like 4 turnovers in the previous 5 games combined. It was a bad, bad effort out of the Cowboys. Makes you wonder about Mike McCarthy if you weren't already wondering about Mike McCarthy. But first, grade the Cowboys against the Eagles. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's video. A, B, C, D, or F. If you were on Team Tank, you got some good news today. You lost against the Eagles. Now, unfortunately, you didn't get all the good news you were hoping for in this particular game. The Colts also lost. So instead of jumping to pick 12, you're going to slide up to pick 13, depending on what the Dolphins also do later on. And maybe a positive sign for you. I think we'll spend some more time on this later this week. The Giants won, and that Giants win is going to push them down to pick number 4. They were at pick number 1, and now they might not be in quarterback range. All of a sudden, the Patriots now have the number 1 pick narrowly over the Titans and the Browns still to play, with the Raiders also picking up a win in this one. If you wanted the Cowboys to lose and help your draft pick status, you got that today. I will say, how you lost was not fun. Getting the absolute doors beat off you by an Eagles team playing their backup quarterback and then their third-string quarterback and averaging 10 yards per pass play because one guy in particular had a terrible showing. We'll talk about him in a second. That's not good. But if you wanted to tank, you got some positivity on that front. It's spin zone, but you got some positive outcomes there. Are you glad the Cowboys lost today? Y for yes, N for no. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know Y or N. Takeaway number 2. The Eagles own Cooper Rush. And this might be a rush versus good defense stat more than anything, but Cooper Rush now, going into today's game, had 1 touchdown against 5 turnovers. It's now 2 against 7. 2 awful interceptions. And I lower the bar for Rush as a backup QB because that's the expectation. He's not supposed to be a top 10 guy that carries you to a bunch of wins and throws for 300-plus yards every game. That's not the expectation. But throwing it into double coverage and getting a pick 6 and then triple coverage and another interception doesn't make any sense to me. I thought those were some pretty bad throws from Cooper Rush. And I thought he played his best football the previous 2 weeks. Thought he was effective. He was efficient. He wasn't nearly as inaccurate. Wasn't making bad decisions. Was taking care of the football. He was playing pretty well. That was bad. 15 of 28, 147 yards, a pick, and 2 interceptions. Better than the last time he played. But it felt like both Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee outplayed him. Now, again, Eagles are a better team, period. They're probably better coached. More on that in a little bit. But that was a bad performance out of Cooper Rush. And that is not the type of game that inspires you to say, you can't play Trey Lance next week. And I would like to see Trey Lance play next week for the Dallas Cowboys. Will they do it? I don't know. Today's show is made possible by Zbiotics. Especially this holiday season. It's office parties and New Year's parties, and you might not bounce back the way you once did. Pre-alcohol from Zbiotics is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Remember to drink it before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Stay in the loop and go to zbiotics.com/chatsports. You can also scan the QR code on screen right now to get 15% off your first order, so you stay prepared no matter the time or the occasion. They are backed by a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Head to zbiotics.com/chatsports and use code chatsports at checkout for 15% off. A big thank you to Zbiotics for sponsoring this episode and our good times. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. My third takeaway is this. What is Mike McCarthy's future? Because if we believe the narrative of, hey, the Cowboys haven't made their decision, the win streak has helped him, this game has to hurt him, right? Like, you got the doors blown off you 41-7, and you didn't score outside of the first quarter. In fact, not only that, you barely got into Eagles territory in the entire second half outside of the first quarter. You got inside the Eagles 20 one time in the entire three quarters of the final three quarters of that game. If we believe that the Cowboys have not yet made up their mind and they hadn't decided to retain or keep Mike before this little hot winning streak, this game has to matter for him. You didn't just lose. You got embarrassed. You got your butts kicked in all three phases today again. You didn't win on offense. You didn't win on defense. You went special teams. And I know you're banged up. I know you didn't have CeeDee Lamb. I know all of that. You didn't play well. You guys got beat to crap. If we believe that Mike's wins against not very good teams and maybe one playoff team or two playoff teams is in there, cool, whatever. If the things that we were worried about with McCarthy, beating the best teams, being more than a one-and-done playoff team, this result does not make us feel better. And it shouldn't, because it was bad. Number 4 takeaway, the defense couldn't carry. And the run this Cowboys team had been on, it was in large part because of their defense. They were forcing takeaways. They were averaging 2 takeaways per game on this little winning streak. They were limiting top offense like the Bengals and Bucks to well below their season averages. They did not stop a nosebleed today. Kenny Pickett was 10 of 15 for 143 yards and a score. Tanner McKee, in the exciting whites of the day, had 3 for 4 for 54 yards and 2 scores. That's the wine me if you haven't seen it. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. I wasn't sound like a crazy person and borderline racist, but I think you know what I'm referring to. Saquon Barkley, 31 for 67. You know, they averaged 4.3 yards as a team on the ground, but Saquon popped off for 5.4. Devonta Smith, who we'll talk about in a second, cooked them. 6 for 120 and 2 scores on my bench in fantasy. A.J. Brown, 3 of 36 and a score. Horrible efforts. Horrible. Defense didn't do its job today. Offense set them fulfilled with 4 different turnovers. You can't win games when your offense turns the ball over. And I'll say this again. You tell me over and over, not you, but people tell me, well, you can bring back Mike, but with a new OC. Why am I keeping my offensive-minded head coach if I don't trust him to run the offense? That doesn't make sense to me. I did that before. It was Jason Garrett. I don't want to go down that path again. Give me your one-word reaction to the Cowboys game against the Eagles. One word and one word only. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Number 5 takeaway. Andrew Booth stinks. He was like 7 of 8 going into today's game. I think every target to Devonta Smith was against Andrew Booth. And that's why I wanted to play Smith if Hurts to play, because I think it would have popped off anyway. 6 for 120 and 2 scores on 7 targets for Devonta Smith. Booth broke up 1 pass. He's under contract next year. That's fine. He can hang around. He can't play for you. And I get he's like corner 6 right now at best on this team. That's fine. You know, corner like 8 or 9 is the backup. Why can't I try Izzy Mukuamu on the outside? Why? He did it in college. Why can't I play him on the outside? Stop putting Andrew Booth out there, because Booth is booty. That was kind of mean, but I'm also not wrong, so deal with it. And if you're a player watching a losing post-game show, that's on you. We will be back again tomorrow with more Cowboys updates. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Briefly, keys to victory. Good Cooper rush. Didn't happen. Nope, not even close. Rico ran pretty well, 23 for 104. A lot of that was in the third and fourth quarter when the game was over, though. He was averaging like under 3.5 yards per carry for the first half. Had a bad fumble again. That's kind of a concern for me now. It's happened a few times. I don't like that. So kind of, but not really. Defense did not dominate. Even your kicker missed. Now, it was a 61-yard try, and he missed it. Feel bad for fantasy owners. I don't have him because he went too early. Got 0 points from Brandon Aubrey today, but wasn't very good. And you didn't fight for Mike McCarthy. At least not enough to get a better result in the end.